Me again. Sorry. A lot of great energy. We are energy, right? I'm not going to quote Einstein or anything like that, but energy is everything. And I'm really excited to now make of the idea a little bit more of a reality. What are we going to do in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? In my personal background, I've built multiple billion-dollar businesses from zero. And that's not showing off. It's just an experience that I had, and I'm very lucky to have been involved in that. One of the companies that I was, when we joined, we were 100 people. We were 2,500 people within 7 years, and we went from $11 million to $3 billion in 7 years. And it was a real pattern of experience. I saw patterns in my brain, and I kept seeing that pattern. And when you summarize the approach of what should we do, it's as simple as energy. You have to have energy. You have to get up. Who wants to get up for a run at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning with me? Anybody? Yep. Okay, let's do it. Right? Because the energy is a really interesting thing, because without energy, nothing happens. So I'm really excited to hear the buzz of the energy and some of the questions are quite tough as well. I can feel that. But I want to go through an approach, and that approach is energy and community. There's two words that I want to share with you. But you need some logic. I don't love spreadsheets, but I just love data. I've been doing it since 1998, and I've seen hospitals transform, industries transform. If HRV, does anybody know heart rate variability? Anybody know what that term means? Just give me a show of hands. I just want to. All right. It's a really great indicator of health. If anyone's into the longevity work of David Sinclair, look at HRV. It's a great indicator. But that data indicator, I have one on my watch every day. It tells me what my HRV is and what my biological age is. And so data helps me become a healthier person. Data helps me be more self-aware. So data is critical. And this is the data that we've put out there at that 10% lowballing it level. So the 10% is £397 million worth of increased productivity, with new services at 133 million. These are not stated numbers for you to go and do, because we as a community have to work towards achieving these. And I've got a plan that I'm going to suggest to you that you can punch holes in, and I want you to punch holes in it. I said it's lowballing. It is. From the position we're in, we could go much higher, but it's conservative. So then, when I've run businesses in the past, core values, missions, visions, all of those workshops I've been in hundreds of them. So I took our friend ChatGPT and said, give me the AI Biosphere Nation manifesto for the Isle of Man. And it created this wonderful document. It was like, oh, wow, geez. Some things on there I didn't think of. Quite interesting. But the first one it gave me was this one. Harmony with heritage. The first thing ChatGPT said about AI Biosphere Nation was harmony with heritage. Well done, ChatGPT. You seem to know what you're talking about. Isn't that fantastic? Thank you, ChatGPT. Oh, sorry. Is it a real person? I don't know. Sometimes I get a bit confused whether it's real or not. It's getting more real as we know. But that manifesto is not for you to read and take on board. It's for us to use as a tool to work out what the manifesto should be. If we don't like something on there, we take it off. We don't have to start from scratch anymore. We don't have to start from the beginning and say, what are we going to do with AI? Just ask ChatGPT. Or ask another large language model. I'm not here to educate you on AI today. There's plenty of people that can do that. I'm more than happy offline to wax lyrical about it, as some people run in a different direction when they see me coming. They used to at parties anyway, but now we get invited to parties because I'm the AI guy, Interesting. So, manifesto. Let's simplify it. My mum is a mum. Wonderful, hard-working mum. She didn't work in industry. And when I think about things, I have to explain what I do to my mum. And these 4 words are what I would suggest we have to think about. Collaboration. Local and global. We need to be a leader, we need really smart people, and we need really productive people. They don't have to be the same person, but we do need to globally collaborate with leading research facilities in the world. Databricks started in Stanford. Some pretty smart people there. National University of Singapore, number 2 natural language processing researcher is in the National University of Singapore. So we've got access globally to some really smart people. Awareness. How do I help my mum with AI? It's a really important question. When Phil and Lyle asked me what the vision is for the island, my instinctive response was remove fear. And they looked at me and said, what do you mean by that? Well, innovation only comes when you remove fear, and removing fear comes from education because it removes ignorance. So there needs to be a significant awareness program on the island. I'm just going to say awareness for now. Productivity. I nearly swore then. GSD. Right? We've got to make this work for us. And the environment. Absolutely, the golden nugget, the prize that we have in our hands right now as the only single nation biosphere on the planet is the biosphere. And that environment changes the discussion. It allows us to lead the discussion. I paused then because I want to be politically correct, and my brain was processing what I should say next. What I want to say is get all the wood behind the arrow. Stop splintering. One person doing it over here, one person doing it over, one person doing it. AI is horizontal, and we need to get together and work it out because we're a relatively small population globally, and we're going to punch above our weights. So engage key stakeholders, and I've got a plan to do that if you want to do that. I don't get paid for doing this. I'm a volunteer. I want to do it because I want to do it. I want to live in a place where there's a lot of energy around this. Raise ambition. Raise it high. Set expectations low. 10%. Raise the ambition to be a world leader. Ambition, expectations, 10%. And then on the global front, gain recognition. We're already gaining recognition. It's not something we don't need to do this new. It's not a new thing. We are already recognized. Some of the work that we've done around, say, e-gaming as an example is phenomenal. So, global, gain recognition. Regulation is important. Were we at the AI Safety Summit? Are we going to create our own AI Biosphere Safety Summit? Questions? Now, a community needs a home. So I asked ChatGPT to create, and it spelt it wrong again, responsible AI economy. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I think it does it on purpose as mentioned, but we need a place. We need a place for community to flourish. I'm not here to tell you what that place is. It's for you to define and decide. But you encourage it by sharing ideas on the collaboration side. On the awareness side, if we had a place, every week run training. Every week, every day. Someone asked me in the break, Jason, where should I go? Well, there's lots of free training out there right now. We should bring that together and have a place where people say, well, if you're looking for that kind of, you should look, if you're looking for this, and we should help each other as a community, raise awareness. Productivity. Now, I've got some solutions in a second. Got 20 minutes, keep an eye on time, don't worry. When you talk about productivity, I worked in software sales my entire life. And what software sales, if anyone's been sold to by a software salesperson, what they do is they say, what's your problem? What's the biggest pain you've got? How much is that costing you? And then they go and build the software to solve it for you. It's a really straightforward process. So the idea of having a place, this is in Douglas, with lots of people milling around, that one button on ChatGPT, a drop-in service. Why not? Why not have someone say, hey, yeah, I've got an AI for that. Yeah, let me show you. Not let me show you, let me do it. Let me put it into production for you. Let me impact your business tomorrow morning. Let's do it now. Done. You're a X, you're a Y. Won't go into it in a moment. I've got some examples. So, and the last one is slightly controversial, but I love Port Erin. I love the whole of the Isle of Man. I've got to say that as well. But Port Erin and the research facility, you had a global research facility there for the marine, and just fantastic. So the environment, the biosphere, environment. So those things are really important that we hold on to those and have some principles around the environment. So how do we raise awareness? Create a process and create a pipeline and put people through it. And at the end, we'll have innovation. Before we get to innovation, we'll have mastery, we'll have productivity at some point, education before that. How do you know what a problem is? Can you solve it? And then awareness. So there's a full program that we need to work on to do that. Just very simple steps right now, starting off with awareness, going the right way through. And this has been done before. Wow. 2017, these guys spent over the last nearly 6 years, the Singapore government has spent nearly $500 million on building this. And they said, yeah, you can use that if you want. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Kind of interesting. I'm representing the Department of Enterprise Digital, just to be very clear. So I'm not representing education, but AI for Kids. Where I met Lawrence, who runs this, was in 2018. He was doing his AI for Everyone tour. He was doing tours around schools. He was going to everyone explaining what AI was in 2018. As a nation that is AI literate, they've generated $300 million of revenue by doing the thing that we're interested in from a digital point of view, which is the AI for industry. How do we help industry generate new products, new services, 2.5% of the goal, and revenues, 7.5%, by creating practical, ready-to-go solutions to problems that are common in the industry? It's been done. It's a blueprint. We don't have to take this blueprint. We can go to any other country in the world or anywhere else in the world, but Singapore's number 3 in the world just by rubbing shoulders with them. It's interesting. It doesn't have to be Singapore. It can be you in the audience who do this. And the last one, which is super, super interesting, is the only chartered AI engineer in the world is in Singapore. And they said, does UCM or BCS or anyone want to work with us to tackle this into Europe? Very interesting. So as we step outside of our zone and have a look at what's possible, that's possible. That range is possible. Now, we have had deep discussions with the NUS. We have a memorandum of understanding currently with the Attorney General on the island to create an agreement. It's discussion right now, just to be super clear, but there is a possibility there. But it needs to come from the community. It needs to come from industry. So I'm going to give you some examples. Has anybody ever seen this spiky fruit? Has anybody ever smelt this spiky fruit? Oh my Lord, it's called durian. And it's banned in hotels, it's banned in taxis, but the Singaporeans love durian. And they can pay up to £50 for one of these things. And within AI Singapore, what they do is they approach projects. Projects apply for funding or resources, essentially, to be able to run a project. And a durian seller used AI to be able to target people who bought £50 durians better. Zero tech. They had zero tech before they went into AI Singapore, into that AI for industry section on that previous slide. Zero tech. And there was no numbers because they didn't want to expose those to us, but there were 2 people who were using AI Singapore to build AI 3 years ago and are now selling through segmentation, straightforward AI, segmenting high net worths who are going to buy £50 durians, who like to buy these ones at these times of the years, and targeting them through building an AI system that was built for them with the AI Singapore team, and they had a positive impact on their durians. No, doesn't have any numbers on there. Beepo, very interesting. Kind of similar to the CSP. Similar. They're HR and payroll outsourcing. 100% revenue growth with only 50% of their staff. So they doubled their revenues with only 50% staff. Now, this goes against the employment point, but it's a fact. I can't hide the facts. But they used AI to differentiate their service by dealing with the difficult problem of scheduling and rota management of restaurants and hotels. It's a really complex problem when people go on holiday and they don't turn up, and they've got people coming in, they've got events like TT races as an example, scheduling, and they provide that AI service to their customers for free, so they hook them into payroll. And the last one, one of the biggest banks in Singapore, all the standard stuff, all the big guys do, you've got small, medium, large t-shirts here, you've got a small one, a Durian, two-man company, got a medium one, a HR outsourcing company, and you've got a big one, DBS Bank, who in 2022 on their company statements to the SGX, the Singapore Stock Exchange, said they generated $360 million of revenue off the back of AI. So small, medium, large. That's the concept. So just keep simplifying. But we met these people whilst we were in Singapore and we understood what they were doing and different stories, and happy to go into more detail on them. So back to the process and the approach. What AI Singapore did and what we're proposing is to create a team that evaluates, number one, a problem statement. So anyone on the island, whether they sell apples and oranges or apples or meat, as we say, rather than durians, because I don't think there's any durians growing on the island, can speak to this team that doesn't currently exist, but could be created if we agree it's the right thing to do. Say, I would like to know more about my customers. I would like to know about fraudulent activity. I would like to change my website so it can have a conversational element to it rather than a search engine element to it. I would like to, what's your problem? What are you trying to solve? It costs me X thousands of pounds to run that website at the moment. I think I can replace it with this and reduce thousands of pounds. Could you reduce £5,000? Yes, you're in. Second point, business case. If you can demonstrate there's a £5,000 worth of savings, you're in for a small project. And then what resources are you going to commit? Because you're not fully qualified yet. I, as the CEO of this two-man company, as the CEO of this large organization, I'm going to commit resources to this. You're definitely in. So the idea of small, medium, and large AI projects supported by digital is the very simple approach that worked already in AI in Singapore since 2017 and drove £300 million worth of incremental business. Now, interestingly, I showed you a picture of Kevin earlier. Kevin WhatsApped me last week. He said, Jason, when we did this with AI Singapore, this was pre-ChatGPT. He said it took 4 to 9 months. It takes 4 to 6 weeks now. So the paradigm has actually, I wish I'd never used that word ever in a presentation. I just did, sorry. But it's shifted. Our understanding of what is possible has shifted hugely. So maybe these are wrong, but it's a good framework and it works, and it's been working for Singapore for the last 6 years. That's what it would look like. In 2024, £1 million worth of impact, direct impact. Just by doing 50 small ones, 10 medium and 2 large. Over the term, between now and 23, direct impact off of these projects, just these projects, 170 million. Conservative numbers, I think. I don't think these are really big numbers, but they're all possible because it's been done before. Now, how do we bring in the second part, the 2.5%? So that's the 7.5%. That's where that comes from, is productivity in current projects. And you could all do that without us. We don't need to do this. You don't need to create an AI Biosphere Nation. You can go off and use Copilot, or we could collectively do this and get there faster. The Biosphere, I mentioned earlier, Ying Lan from Insignia said he would put 50 million into this. The score in the middle, 77% limited availability of AI solutions and products, specifically targeting climate control issues from BCG, May 2022. What that says, I tell my children this all the time. I've got 3 children. I say, where there's a demand and there's short supply, there's economy. Demand, lack of supply. 77%. Limited availability of AI solutions and products to solve climate control. I said earlier, it's up to $3 trillion of revenue could be generated by creating new products for climate control. So there's demand, there's no supply. Interesting. And that's the 87% of people saying that AI will help climate control, but I'd already mentioned a number earlier. Okay. 9 minutes left. Got to talk about this now. We can have some questions. The sprint. January is the planned sprint. Between now and, so there's a sprint before that, which is now the consultation sprint. between now and the 1st of January. Does anyone use Agile? Great, love it. Does anyone know what the Scrum Guide is? Oh my Lord, every CEO on the planet should read the Scrum Guide. Just for a second, I'm gonna go off to the sides for a moment. The Scrum Guide is a document that is 13 pages long. It's a set of principles and values and how to run a team to get goals achieved. And it's been created over the last 25 years. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people have contributed to create a document that helps teams achieve goals. And it's 13 pages long. Please, I implore anyone who has never downloaded the Scrum Guide, go to scrum.org, download the Scrum Guide. At your next board meeting, review that and look at it if it's something that you're doing in your company. Are we using these principles and values? Do we commit to goals? Do we have well-defined roles? Do we have planning meetings? Do we have retrospective meetings? It's a phenomenal product. Now, I'm thinking Scrum here, but I need your involvement. I need everyone in the audience who wants to be involved, to commit. What does commit mean? 5 a.m. Who's going for a run at 5 a.m.? If you're not there at 5, we're gone. January, we'll have a plan. We haven't got one yet. We've got a rough plan. We've got an approach is what we're saying in the moment. We've got an approach for us right now. By January, we'll have a plan. April, we're going to launch. What? Me. Or you. Or all of us. It's a decision. It's a commitment decision. What's the goal? £530 million, low ball. £170 million worth of productivity gain. Next year, 1 million. That's the goal. That's the mission. The vision is to be the world leading biosphere nation. If anybody's read the book Play Bigger, anybody who's looking to lead their industry, read the book Play Bigger. It's about category leadership. Category leaders like AWS create categories they lead in. The SUV is the best example of that. Sports utility vehicle, Toyota came up with it, and then BMW said, "Oh, I've got one of those." Mercedes said, "Oh, I've got one of those sports utility. I've got an SUV. Do you want to buy my SUV?" But the leader was Toyota. Cloud services, AWS. CRM, Salesforce. They create categories. We have an opportunity with the vision to create a category. We've created it. It's done. We've launched it. AI Biosphere. Now, what are we launching in April? In March, we have to build it. In February, we have to approve it. Maybe these are the wrong places at the wrong time. But I'm prepared to commit to these if you want to commit with me. All generated again by our friend and fellow ChatGPT. I'm going to run 5 minutes ahead of time, which gives us some opportunity for some questions. But I'm going to run a short video that costs me nothing, because when you use the free service, you get exactly 60 minutes of video creation. It's not perfect, but it was free. So I like free.
Isle of Man triumphs as a global AI biosphere leader. Today, November 23, 2033. In a groundbreaking achievement, the Isle of Man has officially been recognized as the world's premier AI biosphere nation. During 2033, the AI biosphere contributed a staggering £530 million to its gross domestic product. The island's economy is booming, thanks to the innovative use of AI in optimizing resources, enhancing public services, and attracting cutting-edge research and development. These initiatives have not only spurred economic growth, but also positioned the Isle of Man as a nucleus for international collaboration in AI policy and ethical AI development. The Chief Minister for the Isle of Man government said our commitment to creating a sustainable future by integrating AI with environmental stewardship has set a new global standard. We're not just a model for economic success, we're a beacon for responsible innovation. On CNN, we look forward to watching this powerful island shape our future.
That's it. Thank you. So I do have 4 minutes, and I'm very open to questions. If not, I've managed to finish early, which is good.
Where am I meeting you tomorrow morning at 5?
Just outside Gandhi's at Onken, in Onken. Yeah, just there. Let's go. All right. Anybody else want to be at Gandhi's tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.? Okay.
I have one question. So this reminds me a lot of, on our panel, I'm going to speak later on that, 10-something years ago when crypto first came up, everyone was very excited about it.
Yes.
People like you who saw the potential in it, who are, able to look further afield, they grabbed it, they ran with it.
Yes.
Like I remember being in Macau at a conference, so, we need to do crypto.
Yeah.
So, because someone else was doing it.
Yeah.
I grabbed it. I ran back to us. We need to do crypto. And the lawyers in the company were very quickly looking at me and going, Frank, no. Because the regulatory framework and the basis that you base all this on, is that in place? Is this part of it? Because if the lawyers say no and the compliance people say no, then the AI guys can't go anywhere.
Love it. Love the question. This is not a new tech thing. Blockchain was a fundamental change, which means you have to go from riding horses to driving cars. It was a technological shift that required you to replace your current infrastructures with your new ones. AI is already there. It's already being used. So, yes, there's a lot of regulation that will be coming out, and we have to keep a very close eye on it, but we have to be involved in those discussions. There's the EU Act that is coming out. If you go, there's, again, a website, so the AI Safety Summit on 2nd of November. There's a lot of regulation that's going to come out around AI. But it's not the same as blockchain. This is why I started the presentation with, this is not another tech thing. This has been going on since 1956. The line at which you draw on regulation is really when it becomes very human. So there's a theory about the Sam Altman process over the last couple of days that they've achieved AGI. It's a conspiracy theory in some ways, but AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, i.e. as powerful as a human, is predicted to happen in the next 2 years. And there was a theory that was the reason why it stopped yesterday. So there is going to be lots of regulation around when AI becomes extremely human-like, and it's happening. So we have to be aware of the regulation. If you take the Singapore stance, they've got 35 regulations at the moment, but they're not stopping innovation regulations. They're about human safety, and I think the safety argument is the point. So it's not something the board or any company or any government need to approve because it's happening. As opposed to blockchain, you have to rip it out. Cryptocurrency is different. Cryptocurrency is like ChatGPT. It's a derivative of a large language model. It's just a use of AI. ChatGPT is a use of AI. Blockchain is the fundamental technology. When we say artificial intelligence, we mean that, the fundamental technology. We're talking about blockchain, not crypto. It's probably another way of describing that. Is that? Yeah, it's an impossible. There isn't enough. The regulation is going to happen very fast, and we need to be in that discussion as well. I'd say to you on that. It's happened. Questions? Yeah. Great question. That's a really, really, that's a long conversation. The question was, how do you avoid bias? Let me just say it in a positive way rather than a constructive way. So you can create guardrails. You can train the data. Different models behave differently. So some, keep bias and inference for longer and some don't. So it's not just one answer. But if we say it positively, we have an opportunity to create a biased biosphere foundation model. That's interesting. So when you think about the use of ChatGPT or the large language models that are currently trained, they're trained on economic data. We have an opportunity to train on purposely biasing it towards environment, which is an opportunity. Either we see that is a real opportunity or not. So you can change the bias of a model if you want. Or you can create guardrails to stop it from doing the things you don't want it to do as well. I think so. For me, from a technical point of view, I think I get excited about that because I'm a technologist. From an economic point of view, what that means then is you can create products and services on top of that foundation model that change the discussion so that you can become like the kite mark globally for the Biosphere foundation model, which creates the Biosphere accredited products. But those are all discussions, again, are sort of almost dangerous sort of running ahead with it. But I think it's an opportunity. Questions?
Well, AI be that?
It will be. It's got to be ASI. artificial superintelligence. It'll be more intelligent than humans. That's the scary bit. It will. It will be globally regulated differently. There'll be people that are using it for all sorts of unethical and destructive reasons. And there'll be countries that use it for good reasons. It will be everywhere. It will be, because it's called, all it is, so there's this great quote, which is intelligence is compound. So you have to think about that a bit. So intelligence equals compound. So the more data you compound, the more intelligent you are. And AI is compounding data at a rapid rate. So it's going to be everywhere. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but my brain isn't working, but it's going to be everywhere for sure. But it needs to be regulated as well. And governments need to have technical people on government stuff. So Mustafa Suleyman, who's the guy behind Inflection, was the guy who did DeepMind. He's written a really wonderful book that I'd suggest to everyone to read. It's called The Coming Wave. That book is a really good book because he's looking at it from a humanity perspective. This has, if you're not aware of it and you don't understand it, then how can you work with it? So the idea of an AI being equivalent to humans is going to happen. Then how do you work with it? Do you have employment law for your AI? Do you? Good question. Do we have employment law for AI at the moment? Yesterday, 2 days ago, a CEO was announced for AI, pure AI, CEO of a company. Oh. Questions more than answers, I'm sorry, but I think I'm up on time now. Yes.
What's the involved in it?
Yeah, so Lal and the team will do an outreach. We've got to work that out now. Maybe Lal, if you want to.
Contact is always the way of getting involved with us. But we will be doing an outreach in the next newsletter and make sure there's a clear direction involved there. And we're going to start seeing the data this well. And
I'm on LinkedIn, and anybody who wants to come running with me at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'm happy to. Or like Ash does, the sauna in prime performance. But anyway, so yeah, I'm open. So if anyone wants to meet with me personally, I'm happy to do that. So I'll pick that up as a responsibility. Okay. Any other questions? I think we're at the end of time. So I will thank you all again for listening, and hope to speak to you all and engage with you all.